My next person I gotta get into definitely gotta be my boy Embiid. Embiid definitely gotta be up there. He got his team, competing in the East. They're third, but they could easily next couple of days maybe take over the number one seed. And I gotta give him credit. James Harden looks like he's a good fit for now. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but I will give him credit. He's being an unselfish player. If y'all watch these games that he's played, he's being an unselfish player. So I got to give him credit for that. He's seamlessly gotten that team a lot of chemistry fast, and I like Maxey too. Tyrese Maxey, nice. He is nice. He's a bucket, and I feel like that little trio, they're gonna be hard to beat. And then you got Tobias Harris still on the team. Hey, they're gonna be a threat, man. And I would love to see a series. And I was thinking about this too. Everybody keep talking about they gonna have to go through Brooklyn in the playoffs. I'm thinking if KD don't come back in fast enough, and Kyrie's still on this, on this little thing where he can't play home games, they might not make the playoffs. I think they're in the 8th seed right now. They're in the 8th seed right now, and they're literally only what is that? 3 games out from being out of it. They're 3 games out from being out of it, and one reason why I'm worried about it a little bit is because of the teams that's under them: the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Wizards. Those teams are above them right now, and they could easily take them over because the Wizards are sneakily being a good team. So I don't know if y'all been watching, but the Wizards, they're doing pretty good considering that they haven't had their star players together in years. John Wall hasn't played 1 game. So it's really just, Bill and then, Kuzma, some other guys. And I appreciate how Kuzma, adjusted. And he's a pretty good player for the Wizards. I think he's one of the main reasons that they are, being a force. And you got to get my boy Montrez in there. He's an attitude guy. He brings attitude to that team. So you got to, I don't know, man. Nets is looking weird for y'all because y'all could easily be in the 8th seed today. By 2 weeks from now, y'all could be in the 10th or 11th seed. So it depends on where y'all go from here. And my number one candidate gotta be Giannis. Giannis all day. And I gotta say this right here. A lot of people have been just hyping up KD this whole year. And I'm like, KD, especially since his last injury. Let me preface that. Especially since his last injury, this ain't even been a crazy KD year. Y'all keep saying all this stuff about KD, but I'm like, I expect that though. At this age that he's at, it's kind of like LeBron. Why I don't have him in my thing, in my candidacy, because number one, their record is trash, and number two, I expect him to put up numbers. If you expect somebody to put up numbers and they do it, how much can I really warrant you, an MVP? That's why I say Giannis is more well-rounded, I guess you could say. And the one thing I like about him is that he's not a three-point shooter, but he's still willing to shoot them. He's shooting 30% right now, which is that's up there with Russell. If you think about that in perspective, that's up there with Russell. And I think his average is higher than Russell's right now. And I feel like, I don't know, man. Giannis is different, man. Shooting 54 from the floor. That's different. Different, bro. And he's still great offensively. That's the one thing that I gotta give him credit for. And him and Embiid are right here when it comes to rebounding. The fact that you got a big man, supposed big man, and a power forward / small forward, averaging almost the same amount of rebounds, that shows you how much of a unicorn this nigga Giannis is. If Giannis don't win MVP this year, if it keeps going the way it's going, and Giannis doesn't win MVP this year, it got to be Embiid. It got to be Embiid. Like, that's the only other player I can see getting it. And that's only because maybe he has a better record at the end. But people got to factor in, the Bucks started off slow because all their players was either hurt, going through protocol. They started off slow. So I got to look at that as a whole, and I got to say, but Giannis still stayed solid through that whole time. That whole time, even though they was losing, he was keeping them in the game every time. Every time he was keeping them afloat. So I guess it is what it is with that. But next we'll go into teams that need a makeover. And don't get me wrong, I say they need a makeover, but in the NBA, it's hard to do makeovers because you don't have a lot of wiggle room. NFL, you can kind of do a makeover. You can do it over maybe a year or two. In the NBA, no. It's harder. It's harder. And the funny thing is, I think it's the same amount of players not players, but teams that go into the playoffs. So you get kind of the same kind of picture. So, I mean, as far as like teams that need to like blow it up, I gotta say, like, the first one I gotta bring up is the Nets. That's the first team I gotta bring up, the Nets. I feel like that should get blown up. The only players that you should keep are Ben and KD. Kyrie can go. Because not only is this whole thing with him staying part-time, being on the team part-time pretty much the whole year, there's been a distraction. They can't even keep a solid lineup. And with this whole KD situation, that's pretty much the only solid player y'all had in this whole time. And he didn't even start off solid. He had to miss a whole year. That's when you had Kyrie the deepest. But at this point, Kyrie's becoming a liability, man. Like, I think he only got like maybe 2 more games on the road. The rest of their games are at home. So how much of a factor can he really be for y'all? It is what it is, man. Teams like the Pacers, the Knicks, they need to blow that up. The Knicks, I don't understand why. See, this is my thing, though, with this team like that, the Knicks. Y'all not that far off of trying to get into a play-in. Y'all the 12th seed. 2 spots away. I don't understand why you just gave up and just said, yeah, Kemba, just go ahead and take the year off. Take the rest of the year off. What? How does that make sense? You ride or die with the players that you got. You went and got this dude. Why don't you just ride or die with him? Like, and it's not like he's not gonna do anything about your bottom dollar. Any way it go, you're gonna find out what kind of team you got. And all this, I feel like they shouldn't have signed Evan Fournier. They shouldn't have got him. They should have got somebody younger. Because Fournier isn't young. He's old. He's over 25. He's almost 30. So that was another sign that they shouldn't have did. But you tried to pair him with Kemba. This was the whole reason that you brought him. So I feel like Kemba needs to find somewhere else to go. I feel like Kemba, he's like a middle of the pack point guard. So it's like you're gonna have to go to a team like the Bucks or I wouldn't even say the 76ers. The 76ers don't really need you. You got James. Go to the Nets. Go to the Nets. Go to Brooklyn. Especially if Kyrie leave. If Kyrie gone, get Kemba to go to the Nets. That actually would be a good dynamic, KD and Kemba, because they have kind of the same styles. Like Kemba lives off shooting. He's a crossing shooter. He doesn't pass the ball often. So that's the kind of dude that KD needs. But I don't know. And then this whole Laker thing, of course, that team needs to be blown up. Definitely need to be blown up. That team there, I don't know, man. And I feel like they gave away the wrong people. I wouldn't have gave up, for one, I wouldn't have gave up Drummond. Drummond shouldn't have got rid. They shouldn't have got rid of him. They shouldn't have got Russell in the first place. They should have went with their first mind. I saw that they had already had the green light on the trade to get Buddy Hield. Like, what? That's a better trade than the Russell deal, because y'all gave up 2 first rounds for that. 2 first rounds for him to turn around and say, literally, what, we in March? He already saying that he don't want to be there. What was the point of that? That was a waste of time. And I don't know. I don't want to pass blame on. I don't know who the blame is. It doesn't really matter at that point, because the GM, Pelinka, they green-lighted it. LeBron supposedly green-lighted it. So, I mean, it doesn't matter who's at fault. Y'all messed up. Deal with it. Deal with it. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, that's the only other teams I see, like, that need to blow it up. The Heat can stay together. To me, though, one team that I'm thinking about that's good but could be better is the Celtics. They're going to be one of those teams that mess up their main player's prime because they didn't go for it. And I feel like they should have traded Marcus Smart and tried to get a bigger player. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, those guys are bona fide. Like, they could be potential superstars. Both of them. So I feel like they did that wrong. Not blow it up, but they need to add some pieces. They need to add to that.